reminder that fantastic.
Hot dog.
Yeah. That would be good to have this recording maybe for later. We could put it on YouTube for posterity there too. Um, a little over a year ago, just as a reminder that the Boy Scouts of America went away from that prorated membership fee where everybody's membership expired on December 31st. It was a little bit confusing. You'd have to look at a sheet each month and see how much the fee was. And then sometimes you pay in the month of October, and then the unit would local unit would turn around, put their hand out, oh, we need your fee for next year. So a lot of that is confusing. Or was confusing. That's sort of been taken away with the individual 12-month registration process. If you started in the month of October 2024, you pay your 12 months of registration fees would be good until October 2025. So that's changed. The other big sort of thing that's changed is for the most part, a Scouts family or a volunteer leader is responsible primarily for their renewal. And I'll go right into the down the rabbit hole and into the weeds on that. So that's got a little bit different time frame, and it's slightly unhitched from the unit renewal, which is still, all of our units still expire on 12/31. So we're going to go a little bit into the detail on the unit renewal here as we go through this. If you do have some questions, I'm going to blast through this so we can sort of try and keep this on the 30-minute timeline here so we can get to some of the breakouts and get back to the football game maybe before it's over here. So as we're going through this, if you've got questions, please just write them in the chat. Eric's agreed to sort of monitor the chat and either answer questions as we go along, or we'll have a question time at the very end, and hopefully we'll have already answered some of those and we can sort of rapid fire do that. So please do write those in the chat as we go along. All right, individual renewal process. So sort of explain when that 12 months comes up, the individual or the key three is, as well as the individual, are going to get an email. And this is sort of what the key three's email looks like. And the key three getting this email is sort of an opportunity because those families, like my buddy Lauren, like I have to call him or send him a text or something to get his attention because his email is probably like 2 years gone or something like that. So if I need his attention, and these renewal emails are going to go to folks' primary email address. So every monthly, the unit key three and the key three delegates will get a copy of this email of who's up for renewal, and it'll show who's due to renew in the next 3 months, and it'll also tell you sort of 2 months after they expire too, and we'll sort of go through what happens when they fall off the list. This is a little bit more detail. You'll see this Cub Scout pack for, we use an example here. We've got a bunch of youth members, and the youth members, looks like a lot of these recently expired here. They will stay on the books for another 2 months as expired members there. So they've got a little bit of time if they didn't renew by their expiration date. This particular pack didn't have any adults currently ready to renew. Let's see here. It will list people that have recently renewed. It'll list some dropped people. It'll also list dropped adults. Now, what's interesting about the list of drops adults, I'll give one example that's on this slide here. Jennifer changed back in the month of July from committee member to committee chairperson. So she was dropped as committee member and added as committee chairperson is how that worked out. So you may actually have to double check this with your roster there. If when you freak out and see someone that's on the list of dropped, it's usually adults. For example, they may have transferred a unit or transferred to another position. So the last thing that's on here, that's sort of a weird word, is people that have opted out. Those are folks that got a message to renew their individual registration, and they marked it, said, no, I don't want to continue in scouting. So that's fine. At least they told us, yes, they don't want to continue in scouting. Might want to ground truth that. But all these people that have expired and haven't renewed their membership, might want to follow up with those folks there, especially if you know they're not paying attention to their email, or we don't have the correct email address for them, or something like this, sort of predicated on that we've got a good email and people pay attention to it. All right, here's an example of the renewal a family gets, either for it's going to go to the parent guardian of the scout, or it's going to go to the volunteer leader, and she said, hey, here's your registration, here's when here's your new registration term, etc. So and then it goes, and I'll show some more slides of that, but you're just going to click on the click here to renew there, and I'll go through a process of asking you for your fees there, and you'll renew. So we really want people to, there's a couple of different options here. There is an option, and the one we would love for people to follow, because it's clean, it takes you out of being a bill collector. Families pay for their membership on there. It's all done online. Is this option where each volunteer or family pays for their own registration. There are some other options. There is, if you go back to that email here that Jennifer had, you can click right here and you can go through the process of renewing. A unit can go through and renew and pay for members. So there's quite a few units that we have that they've set up a policy where they pay for the renewal, usually of adult members. So they can do that. It's not going to stop. There's not an option to turn off this email to that adult member that their renewal is getting processed. So you're probably going to want to communicate that with your families if you're going to do that. So, and I'll go through down the rabbit hole of how to do that. The other way, and you probably only want to do this if you refuse to pay the small little banking fees, that I'll go through that, or if you don't know how to use a computer or something like that, you've got someone managing the process there. We really need people that can, use a computer, that are going to manage this process. But we still have some of those folks that are doing that. You can work with our registrar and renew folks through the council office, but we really don't want people doing that. Or you can do a combination of all these things. Probably what some units are going to do, they're going to pay for their adults, and they're going to leave it up to the families to pay for their scouts renewal there. One quirk it does is it automatically signs you up for Scout Life. So I was talking with one of our committee chairpersons, Jennifer. She's got 3 kids in Scouts. They're all getting the magazine, and her husband are volunteer leaders, and they're all getting the magazine. So you might want to tweak that so you're not getting 5 magazines at your house there. But I'll get on my soapbox, and when I was a 12-year-old and I got it was Boys Life then, that was the coolest thing ever. And I think it's still the coolest thing ever for a 12-year-old. So, best practice, individual renewal. You're going to follow the click to renewal. You could also go to my.scouting. There's an alert when you log in if you're up for renewal there, or you could go to my application and take care of it. There's sort of 3 ways you can get there. And you may need to go to this tab here that says my renewals, and then start your renewal. And if you've got if you're unit commissioner and your assistant scoutmaster, you're probably going to have one place that you pay your fees, and that'll be indicated where your primary registration is. So you want to just make sure that you're doing all those things. Your merit badge counselor position, you're just paying in one place on this screen here, and then click a couple more things here, and like we said, it's automatically going to slam you for Scout Life, but you can, on this screen where you go to check out, you can uncheck that and you don't have to pay the $15 if you don't want to, but I'd encourage all the scouts to at least be getting Scout Life magazine. So, all right. Unit renews members online. So that process is a little bit different. They can follow a link that's in their email. They can go to my.scouting, and then they're going to go to roster. If any of the key three have access to the roster, and units can delegate up to 3 other people to be key 3 delegates and organization manager. So if you got somebody else that's not, Scoutmaster, committee chair, chartered org rep, you can delegate that person there, an organization manager. So just go to roster. You can see when people are expired or they're eligible for renewal in this column right here. You can just click on them and then hit the renew button, and then you can start creating their renewal. You can take Scout Life off if you need to there. And so we're going through the processes of the unit pays for somebody. And then in all of these payments, when we've done Recharter before, we've said, pay the local council. This system is working really well, and we're asking people to pay national directly. There is a council fee, and I'll get to a slide that's got all the council fees listed on it. The council fee then comes back to the local council from the national office there. So there is goes to the national council. You do have to pay some small charges. It's 3% for credit card transactions, or $1 per transaction for ACH payments. So, all right. Okay. I'm going to put in the chat as soon as I'm done, and you can find it on our website. All of these directions printed out. This is the option for the Luddites that want to talk to Mary and Barrett and come into the office and do all this. So I'm not going to spend any time on this. We sort of don't want people following this method, but please, if there's a hang up or something's not working or something, Mary and Barrett, me and John are here. Call us and we'll get through the roadblock together here. All right. There is one quirk in the system, and there are folks that renewed prior to 9/26/2024. So that was just what, a week, 2 weeks ago. If they're renewed prior to that, there is a membership renewal approval. So the key 3 would get an email, and they would go on and approve those renewals here. I think this, yeah. If you go to your roster in my.scouting and you go to membership renewal orders, on the these are all marked as approved yes, but there will be a yes no toggle on here. There is a quirk we found, and this is only going to happen for a couple of people. So if you see this in your local unit, get me, John, Barrett, send us a screenshot, and we'll get it to the national IT folks. So who was it here? Oh, George Palanke right here. They submitted renewal. And then down here on the membership renewal orders, it's marked as approved. So the key three, it got on and approved it, but it still says submitted here. So it's still got the wrong expiration date on their roster there. So we've already submitted that one to the national IT folks. So if you see that again, where you've submitted an approval and it's only going to be for, probably like 20 kids in our whole district, and they've taken us we've already approved that kid. They're just renewing. So, or we've already approved the adult. They're just renewing. So they took that out of the system there. Hopefully that makes sense there. All right. All right. This, one thing that a lot of units have done is, every December, there's a big check that they wrote to the council for unit renewal. A lot of units collected local unit dues, based on, their fundraising plans and their budget and everything, would ask each family for some unit dues. So there is not a mechanism in this to collect local unit dues and for national and the council to pass those on to local units. So local units are still going to need to collect their own unit dues. All right. What happens if renewal is not completed? Scouts are going to stay on your books for 60 days after registration expires. You can still go into Scout Book and approve their advancement, but after 60 days, past their expiration date, they're going to fall off your roster. You're not going to be able to approve any advancement and things like that. So keep following up with those families that are, past their expiration date and haven't dealt with it, and just say, hey, crack open your email. There's one in there you need to follow up on there. So, and you can probably help them out with that. All right. Here's a list of fees. Adults are 65, and these went up a couple of bucks last year. There's nothing on the radar right now that these are changing anytime soon. So hopefully these will stay the same for a little bit, but can't guarantee that. But usually they give us a little bit of notice so units can plan for that. So as far as I know, these are staying the same for a while, but that's all I know. Adult registration 65, youth registration 85. There's a council fee that sort of helps supplement our program, insurance, all that good stuff. That's $30. That's for youth and adults. Scout Life subscriptions $15. Scout Life subscriptions optional, so remember you can unclick that. And then we already sort of went through the what the credit card and ACH fees are there. So it looks like a little cheaper, even if you hate bank fees and stuff, to go with the ACH fee there. All right. So that is individual renewal, which actually makes the unit renewal a whole lot easier. The unit renewal, that window is going to open up on November 4th. We're asking units to have the unit renewal completed by December 13th. So we'll probably have some reminders on this at the November and December roundtable. Hey, did you get it done in December? And or a little reminder, go ahead and get started in November there. Pretty easy now to go ahead and get started on unit renewal. Do you have all the required positions? So I'll just review those. You have to have a chartering organization representative. You must have a committee chairperson. You must have 2 committee members. You must have a unit leader. So depending on the flavor of your unit, that's the Cub Master, the Scout Master, the Sea Scout Skipper, the Venturing Advisor, the Exploring Advisor, I think is what it's called. All right. So in the documents I'm going to put on there, I've got those on a checklist for you. Oh, and then if you're in a Cub Scout pack, you have to have at least 1 den leader there too. So make sure everybody's got youth protection training, and those folks that are going to be you're renewing, make sure their youth protection training is good through the end of February of 2025. that way, if there's something holding up your unit renewal, we've got a little bit of time before while you're in a lapsed registration or expired registration status to fix that before your unit is gone from the books there. So just make sure everybody's caught up on youth protection training that you're going to be it's going to be carrying forward. The adults are that are not going to retake youth protection training, that it's going to expire somewhere in there. Just let us know and we can remove them from the roster. But if their expiration date is well into 2025 there, you can just leave them. Don't worry about them if they've got youth protection training. Hopefully that makes sense there. Just follow that bullet point in there. You can always tweak the positions people are in so to wind up in the correct positions at any time now. The key three or actually, no, I stand corrected here. The chartering organization representative for adult positions has to approve the position, so they can go into organization manager in my.scouting and move those positions around because they have to approve adults for those positions. So that's the chartering organization rep. All right. Got any youth that have aged out? If they're in a pack, get them transferred to the troop. But youth over 18, if they're going to stick around, go ahead and get them registered as College Scout or Reserve or Scout or Reserve or Assistant Scoutmaster, sort of wherever they're going to fit in there. Just keep in mind that Assistant Scoutmaster has a bit of training requirements that they need to do. And then there's a caveat there. If they've got an approved extension, we've got to register them as an unit participant, but that they have details on how to do that on their extension letter. Remember that youth age 18 to 21 in a career shipment must be registered as a venturing participant. So, yep, you can start on that November 4th. And then here's sort of how you do it. It's this is a little bit new. The place you go in the last couple of years, you had to go to advancements.scouting.org. Now you're going to go to organization manager and then to unit renewal in your my.scouting.org account. And it's just going
to John.
I'll back up here and I'm going to get you all of this in print here too, but it's just my.scouting.org and then organization manager.
Yeah. Okay.
And you won't see that until November 4th. Oh. And then each time you open up the unit renewal, it sort of checks validation. If there's errors, then they must be resolved. Stuff like folks with expired youth protection training, you can bug them until they get their youth protection training done. Missing leaders, like you don't have a committee chairperson or aged out scouts, so you got to fix all that. And then there's some warnings. So there'll be some things that I'm trying to think what might be a warning, like someone's age and their grade doesn't jive or something like that. It doesn't fit the norms in the computer, but it is what it is. Those will pop up as warnings. You don't have to change those, but they're basically saying something might be messed up here. So
John, quick question. So this is independent of doing another registration with money. This has nothing to do with money at this time, this form?
It does have something to do with money because once you're all happy with your roster, you're going to approve the charter there, and then you're going to go to payment. So there is a annual unit renewal fee of $100. So this is where the local unit is going to pay per unit that they're renewing $100 here, and same bank fees apply there. 3% if you're using a credit card, $1 if you're using ACH there.
Is
And
this fee going to national or Chief Seattle?
it technically goes to National Council.
Okay.
And that's for
Yeah.
hold units as well.
Say that question again.
It's $100 per unit, including the hold units,
The hold units.
because we've got a combined troop. So we have hold troop.
That's a good question. Oh no, I know the answer to that. Yep, you're gonna need to pay. Yes,
Okay,
you're stuck renewing 2 units for now, and you're gonna owe $200. Yes.
Is
Good
this a
question.
separate, is this a separate fee than what is charged for the registrations?
Yeah, it's always been there. You've always paid $100. Well, it used
Yeah,
to be
but
less, but for the
the
last
way
couple of
it's-
years, it's been $100 per unit.
The way it's
And you've-
looking is it's like you pay for your members and then you have to pay this unit fee separate.
It used to
Correct.
just all be folded together though, so, but yeah, there's always been a 100, well, there's always been a unit renewal fee in addition to the member fees. Just we paid it all at once.
Yeah.
And a council fee as well.
Yeah, and that's per adult volunteer or youth member. Let's see here. Oh, a thing on here, you can save your credit card for future payments. If you don't want to do that, you don't have to. All right, once you submit a payment, your unit renewal is final. All right. How much time do we have for questions?
5 or 10 minutes, but did you want to read the chat yourself, or do you want me to read them out to you?
Yeah, let me just unshare. Well, I'll just leave this up here, and if you do me a favor and just read off the questions, and
Sure.
I might go back to the slide there. And
Starting from the beginning, Kevin from Pack 167 asked, so we'll get these emails once a month now, is that right? At least as long as we have someone in the renewal window?
yes, yeah, good question. So the ones that the key 3 gets, those are going to come as a summary monthly. And so as long as there's someone that has an expired opted out, or they're due for renewal within the next 3 months, yeah, just plan on getting those monthly from here on out. Now, the one that goes to the volunteer leader or the parent guardian of the scout, those are going to start 2 months before the renewal date. I think that they come every 2 weeks, and then in a month they come weekly, and then a week they come daily, and then I think they're daily for a week after the renewal date, and then they taper off to once a week or something until 2 months passes, and then we haven't forgotten about them, but you can still get a list of those folks and ask them to renew there. So yeah, there's a little bit different schedule depending on if you're the key 3, you're just going to get a summary, and if you're an individual, you're just gonna, if you haven't done something leading up to the renewal date, they're going to come fast and furious.
But John, Ken from Troop 282 asked, if they expire, do they drop off Scoutbook? I'm presuming that's the member?
2 months after their expiration date, yeah, anybody who has not paid their renewal will drop off Scoutbook, and you won't be able to yeah, they'll just disappear after that 2-month window there.
And continuing, so paying for scouts or adults only works if they expire in the next few months during Recharter. What happens during April, for instance, if they expire then, something like that?
If they expire on April 30th, then they'll expire on April 30th. So they need to renew on April 30th.
Okay, actually, this is my
It's-
question, is when you
yeah.
want to pay for them through the Recharter,
So
it's not gonna be possible, correct?
Yeah. So this is these two, the unit renewal and the individual renewal are unhitched from each other essentially, where they have been all coordinated on December 31 in the
Well,
past.
what if you don't want them unhitched?
You got-
They are unhitched. So sorry.
No,
But
you
our troop pays for all of our
Yeah.
memberships, right?
You're
And
gonna have to do that
generally
on a
happens
month.
as one lump. And granted, we have a few that are not in the same lump, but 90% of them are still renewing at the end of the year.
Yeah.
at this time.
If I can rephrase
Yeah.
that for you, the recharter no longer has anything to do with individual payments.
No,
Yeah.
that's not what you stated.
Yeah.
In there, you said the unit could pay for the adults, but it looks like you can only do it.
Unit
during the
can
pay
20
for-
month period.
Part of charter. Is that accurate, John?
The unit can pay for adults and they can pay for youth members if
But
they
it has
want
nothing
to.
to do with the recharter, correct?
Right. This is the individual renewals. We would love for folks to switch over to families paying for individual renewals, but there is an option there for units to pay for individuals renewals. And but you're going to have to start doing that on a monthly basis instead of an annual basis. So the system's really set up for individuals taking care of their own individual renewal.
I think, John, I think a lot of people have done it on a December 31st. So in reality, all this will happen for December 31st, like in our troop, except for new boys coming in. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, that timeline is going to shift from December 31st over time to sort of probably, a lot of families join in September, but a lot of families join every month of the year. So
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
I have a question. You mentioned fees for rechartering 65 adults, 85 youth, and a $30 for Seattle Council. How is that different than the unit, the $100? I mean, I don't understand. There's two fees there.
correct. Yeah. So all of that goes to National Council, supports
Yeah.
all the tools that you guys
Yeah.
use,
No.
Scoutbook and all that.
So I'm
Yeah.
asking, is that just one? Is that fee? So is that you're paying one fee of $30, or is that $30 per boy?
That is $30 per scout or adult volunteer. So
Okay,
there
that's an additional-
are
I got it.
over 2,000 scouts and adults
okay.
in Seattle
Okay, so-
territory times
all right.
$30.
Cool.
Yeah, annual.
So the
Yep.
the adult would be 95 and the youth would be whatever 100 and
115 and
Got it.
add Boys Life magazine or Scouts Life.
I
Sorry,
got you. I got you.
$130.
Yep,
Yeah,
Okay, that
move
clears
on.
that up. That was a little confusing. So that's what they're paying. And then the unit thing is the $100.
Yep, annually. Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. Got it.
Can you
Thank
move
you.
on real quickly? There was comment that we love to have a list price that includes credit card fees submerged into that. Is that a possibility, or is that not looking?
Yeah, I agree there. It's sort of easier to most retailers, you go to the Gap and you buy a shirt, right? And you pay for it with a credit card and it says $10 on the thing and you pay, 10 point something% in sales tax and the thing's $11 and change or something. You put that on your credit card and stuff. Yeah, I don't really like the, getting hit with that fee at the end either. It's sort of beyond my control, so we'll put up with it.
Yeah, John,
Are
real
there
briefly
any,
on that.
are there
The
any
issue
payment
for us?
methods-
I don't know if you can hear me.
Go ahead.
You
Go
know,
ahead, Kevin.
Let's just use a round number. We say that the cost to go to Camp Edward is $200 per scout. And so all the families send our pack $200.
Mm-hmm.
And then we go to pay council. And now we owe $206 for every person times 30. It just adds up over time.
Mm-hmm.
We could add it on the front end too. It's just something we never
Yeah.
quite.
I keep sending those suggestions in. So,
Thank you. That's all I was asking.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Last couple
Sometimes
questions.
they listen to me, sometimes they don't.
Last couple questions. We got to hurry. Are there any methods that do not have a fee?
That there is, and it winds up being more work for our staff, and that's to sort of sit down with Barrett or Mary and go through it and then write us a check or
Okay.
pay with a credit card here at the office here. So
Then is there a joining fee still or not?
no, yay! There is no more joining fee. I got rid of that like about a year ago, I think.
Got it?
Yeah, fortunately, that was ridiculous.
Great. So I think that's all the questions, unless someone has any more. We're wanting to do our breakouts real soon if you're amenable to that.
Yeah, I think that was good. And like I said, just as soon as I stop talking, I will drop those lists of instructions in the chat here for everybody.
Okay.
And when you can find them on our website too.
The breakout rooms are open. You're welcome to join one of the two, the Cub Scouts or the Scouts BSA. If you need help, stay in this room or yell. You should have a choice in front of you.
No, I don't have a choice.
All right. I will send you where you need to go then.
Okay, thanks.
I have no choice.
Okay.
If you click on more and join breakout rooms, then you will have a choice there.